thank you everyone for joining us today. Comics Plus and Mac and Via are coming together to share some tips and tricks on using Comics Plus and how to leverage your Mac and Via platform to really get the word out and to promote your collection within Comics Plus. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So that you know what it is that we're talking about today, we're going to dive into the collection a little deeper. We have Guy Gonzalez with us from Library Pass. He is the Chief Content Officer with us, and he is going to go into really popular titles and really exciting titles and give you just a good insight into your collection in Comics Plus at each different grade level. I will be going through your Comics Plus platform, showing you some tips and tricks that you can use inside of Comics Plus to really leverage your collection. And then we have Mesa with us from Mackin, who is going to go through and show you how to really use your Mac and Via platform to leverage the content that we are talking about and all the resources that we show you. And then at the very end, we'll talk about some additional authentication options if you're interested. And then we'll also have a Q&A where you can ask questions for anything that is involved or talked about today in the webinar. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Guy, who's going to talk about our collection.
All right, thanks, Raquel. Welcome, everybody. I'm Guy Charles Gonzalez with Library Pass, and as you probably know, as customers, we have 3 packages that we curate the Comics Plus collection into: our elementary, our middle school, and our high school collections. Each of those collections is made up of 2 of our age tiers, and we have 5 age tiers: children, kids, teen, young adult, and adult. Obviously, the adult segment of the collection is not available in the K-12 packages, but children through young adult are. And we're going to go through some of the highlights of each one. On the call, I'm not sure which ones you all have access to, but each package overlaps with the next package. So elementary has children and kids, middle school has kids and teen, and then high school has teen and young adult. So outside of children and young adult, if you're on this call, most of what I'm going to talk about applies to you and is available in your collection. And what doesn't will be clear as we go through. So with each collection, we offer a variety of marketing materials. One of the most important aspects of driving circulation in the collection is letting your kids know that it exists and where they can find it. So we've created a series of marketing assets that apply to each collection, so that if you've got the elementary package, you've got a set of marketing materials that only spotlight content that's available in that collection. So you don't have to worry about some of our broader marketing materials that include titles from the young adult category or from the adult category. You don't have to worry about not having available assets that are applicable to the collection you have. So this is a representation of a number of them. Read All the Comics is kind of our umbrella marketing promotion, and it speaks to the most basic fundamental value that the platform offers, which is unlimited simultaneous access. You don't have to worry about hold lists. You don't have to worry about exceeding your budget every month and having kids have to wait another month before they can download any more books. You can do reading programs and they can all read the same book, or you can encourage independent reading and they can explore to their heart's content. So in the next slide, in the elementary package, every package has a variety of popular characters and series available. From an independent reading perspective, kids know what they want to read and they're going to go looking for it. So we've got a number of well-known, well-established comics properties available in the platform. At the elementary level, that's everything from Adventure Time and Avatar to huge cartoon series that have great comic book collections attached to them. Awkward is in there, which is part of Svetlana Chmakova's collection of books that are great for this age range and middle school. Sonic the Hedgehog, the Octonauts. If there's a TV show and it's not Batman and Spider-Man, there's probably a comic book about them in the collection, and as simple as search will turn those up. Beyond that, where you want to encourage particular reading areas of focus, or you're looking to align to aspects of the curriculum to make connections for your teachers, we have American History, American Dreams is our newest collection. You'll find all of these available right on the homepage of your collection. In some cases, we will call them things on the front end for the readers that are a little different than what we communicate to you on the back end. So a good example is we've got a list called All the Fields on the front. That is our social and emotional learning list. Kids don't care and maybe don't even know what social and emotional learning is. You guys know because it's a term that you use. On the front end, though, All the Fields is more of a term they're more familiar with. So generally speaking, on the front end, we name these lists to appeal to the readers. On the back end, sometimes we call them something slightly different for you guys so that you can make that connection to either curriculum or more industry standard terminology. So from an educational perspective, the American History, American Dreams is a combination of core K-12 nonfiction content and interesting fiction, whether that's stories set in America's past or about historical figures. As you get older in the collection, memoirs, key memoirs are available in there as well. At this level, at the elementary, Capstone, Saddleback, we just added Abdo, Learner. Those 4 publishers have a great variety of nonfiction content that's perfect for the elementary school reading level. Everything from biographies of notable historic figures to histories of key eras in American history, all the way from before the formation of the Union, all the way up to civil rights in the Vietnam War. Also mixed in there, we've got Mystery at Manzanar, a World War II internment camp story. Everybody's familiar with They Called Us Enemy, George Takei's award-winning memoir. That's not available in the elementary collection because that's a teen-rated title. But Mystery at Manzanar, if you're looking for a good read-alike that is perfectly aligned to that experience, but is written for a slightly younger perspective, this is a very similar story of a kid dealing with life in an internment camp, told as a mystery that's actually based on a true story. Kinsey and Tuskegee Hares are also both stories of the American dream from different perspectives. Kinsey is the story of a 15-year-old Latina. Tuskegee Hares is a sci-fi fantasy about a squadron of robot fighters who are inspired by the history of the Tuskegee Airmen. So when you're looking to align content to any sort of American history programming, which kind of is year-round, this is a really good resource for you to look to. In terms of independent reading, manga is huge everywhere. The manga collection at this age range includes a number of very familiar series. Avatar remains one of our most popular in the collection. It debuted on Netflix after 15 years, Nickelodeon, when most of us were younger. These kids saw it on Netflix and the series blew up and they've been eating it up. Also in the collection are a number of Disney manga licenses, everything from Disney Descendants, which is an original story, to Disney Fairies, Disney Princesses, which tell stories, manga stories with a lot of established Disney characters. There's also manga classics. There's only a couple at the elementary level because the manga classics tend to be more of a teen young adult, but there are a few in here these are manga adaptations of literary classics. Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer, Mask of Red Death, I think is one of the newer ones. There's a number of retellings and they're full adaptations. They're not abridged. And they're a really great way to connect the dots between kids who are really into manga, but have to read some of the classics. And then there's a series called Manga Math Mysteries, which takes math and turns it into fun manga stories. So a couple of different ways you can even take manga and get a curriculum alignment there. Our Superheroes for Everyone is a collection of a variety of superhero stories. So if you've got kids who are really into the Marvel movies or some of the DC characters, while those comics are not in the collection, we do have a small number of DC related series from Capstone, but more importantly, we've got a variety of superhero stories that are perfect read-alikes. If a kid is into Batman or a kid is into Spider-Man, you've got plenty of similar comics in the collection that you can introduce them to and they can read to their heart's content. And then back to curriculum alignment, STEM and STEAM is another key area we've built a nice little collection around, a combination of interesting science-based stories and actual creative and scientific based nonfiction. So Power Coders, Fire, Salt, Slime, the Max Axiom series is a really good one. That one's from Capstone, a variety of scientific subjects it tackles. And some of those books are also available in Spanish as well. We also have a pretty good selection of creating your own comics titles in that collection. Everything from how to draw, how to color, how to tell stories, how to create your own comic from scratch. So at the elementary level, you've got a variety of content to choose from. And again, at this level, our assumption is mostly independent reading, but also a solid collection of content that you can make direct curriculum connections to, particularly for your older elementary readers. Let's go to middle school. So at the middle school level, same thing, middle school package specific marketing materials that you can use in a variety of ways. On the left is a poster that you can print out and use, not pictured here. We also have bookmarks that you can print out. These are all digital resources, but several of them are also, we have print ready versions as well. Let's go to the next slide. So similar structure here, calling out some of the same categories. You'll see the content mix adjusts a little bit as our children's titles fall out of the middle school collection, but our teen titles come into the collection. And this particular collection is about twice the size of the elementary collection. It's same thing when it comes to popular characters and series, a variety. Here you start to see a lot more traditional manga making its way into the collection, as at the teen level is when if you're familiar with manga, there's not a lot of traditional manga that's really for kids or teens. It really starts at the teen level, at the older teen level and up. So in our collection, you'll start to see the introduction of manga in the middle school collection with the teenage tier. In the popular characters and series, you'll also see a few additional well-established properties like Star Wars, Stranger Things is in here, Lumberjanes is in here, Eden Zero and Fairy Tail, two big manga series, they're also in here. More broadly, manga at the middle school level, you really start to open up the opportunities beyond the more kid-centric stuff like Avatar and the Disney titles. You get things like A Silent Voice, Eden Zero, Fairy Tail, Space Pirate Captain Harlock is a new one from Ablaze that also has a TV show and anime series that's out. So a number of shows that kids are watching, you'll find some of those comics in the collection. American History, American Dreams, you also start to open up some really strong content at the teen level, including two of our most popular titles, the March trilogy, and They Called Us Enemy. They Called Us Enemy, we have both the original, the expanded edition, as well as the Spanish edition available in the middle school collection. Here you expand the availability of manga classics. Capstone's graphic library, Saddleback, and some Learner are also still in here. Most of those are at the kid level, so you still have access to those here, and the other titles that I mentioned at the elementary connection. The social and emotional learning, we've got a little bit in the elementary collection, but we don't really spotlight it as much. Here's where it really kind of opens up into both a combination of well-known titles like Chmakova's Awkward, the junior high drama series, The Sisters, and Zyker Press is a great publisher. All of their titles are the actual stories of young teens told in partnership with Zyker. Zyker commissions an artist, they tell their story, and each one is on a very specific aspect of life. So there's everything from dealing with divorce, dealing with bullying. One is about being a sibling, having an autistic brother. There's one about racism. There's one about transitioning. They've kind of got, I want to say 12 to 15 titles, and basically every notable social and emotional learning topic, they've got a title covering it. And what's special about these is they are the actual stories of these teenagers told with a professional artist. But Zyker has an interesting model as well. They were founded by the creator of CSI, and they also have, they don't sell their books, they make them available through fundraising. So if you find these books are circulating well in your catalog, you can possibly petition them. They give out print collections of their titles as well. and those are fully paid for by the funding they get. So they're not books you'd have to buy to add to your collection. So if you find that these titles are circulating well for you, that's an opportunity to add them to your print collection as well for free. And anybody on the call or anybody, if you follow up with Mackin, we can put you in contact with them to help make that happen. And then same thing at the STEM STEAM level, pretty much the same collection at this level as in elementary. Two-Fisted Science, I think, is the one edition that's at the teen level. But basically, there's a strong collection here where you can tie these into makerspace programs, into STEM STEAM lessons. They are, in some cases, fun reads that you can make the curriculum connections. And in some cases, they're straightforward nonfiction where the title is the lesson itself. All right, let's go to high school. So again, same thing, high school specific marketing assets that you can use. And let's go to the content. So at the high school level, you're now no longer children, no longer kids. So at this level, you don't have Avatar in particular in the collection anymore because that's a kids rated title. You have teen and young adult titles. And at the young adult level, you really open up to more mature storytelling, bigger franchises that are well known, like Hellboy and the Umbrella Academy. A number of our Dungeons and Dragons titles are available in here. You also start getting access to the more intense manga. Attack on Titan is probably one of our most requested titles before we finally signed Kodansha on this summer, and has proven very popular. That's rated at young adult, so it's only available in the high school collection. Same with Battle Angel Alita. Lock and Key is also here, another big Netflix driven series. Manga, like I said, really opens up here. You've got probably the strongest collection of the three when it comes to manga at the high school level. For those of you in a position to also add the kids tier to your high school collection, or vice versa, young adult to your middle school collection, if manga is a priority for you, that's kind of the best approach. That way you get the maximum impact of the manga collection. At the American history level, here's where you start to see the introduction of a lot more relevant fiction that tell kind of harder hitting stories that align with either American history or in some cases American present, but also you still have access to some of the key titles like March and They Called Us Enemy. Social and emotional learning, same thing. The scope of the content really opens up at the young adult level into more mature storytelling. And here's where you can really make literary connections as well, because a number of award-winning or award-nominated titles are in here. Essex County is a personal favorite by Jeff Lemire. Genderqueer is a popular and also, as some of you might know, controversial one. Some school districts have banned it. So FYI, if you're in one of those districts, you have the ability to, if necessary, turn that title off. But I would encourage you to read it first and make your own assessment. But at this level, you've got the Zyker titles, which do the more straightforward kind of telling the story of a teen, and then the more literary, nuanced storytelling of an Essex County, of A Lighter Than My Shadow, Swallow Me Whole. At this level, those of you on the call personally would be finding titles that you'd be interested in reading, because unlike the young adult category in traditional books, which, you know, the line is blurred between are they for teens or are they for adults, the young adult content in our collection is really strong storytelling that in a lot of cases have won adult awards. They are not literally defined as young adult. We've defined them as appropriate for young adult readers. And then again, at the STEM STEAM level, here you get a few interesting additions, including the Geek's Guide to Cross Stitch. The one that stands out of note is Cells at Work. It's a fun little manga series. I think we have the first 3, maybe 4 volumes. That is literally a manga about red blood cells doing their job. So if you've got a science course and you've got kids who are really into manga, here's a way to kind of make that connection. It's a really popular series. I see somebody's got it in print too. And Raquel has posted in the chat, you'll see a link to our age guidelines that break down how we define these age tiers. And just so you know, we don't just take the publisher's age guidelines. Our age guidelines are more written towards a K-12 perspective as opposed to a traditional consumer perspective. A lot of comics publishers think everybody's a teenager, and so everything's appropriate for teen and up. And for some of them, teen starts at 10. You can look through those guidelines and get an understanding of how we rate titles. Cells at Work is young adult, so it's only in the high school collection. Somebody just asked in the chat. So I think I've got one more slide. Yeah. So those of you with either Spanish-speaking populations or ESL students, we don't have a huge Spanish collection, but we do have some. And what we've identified in this slide is in each collection, the key titles that are available. So at the elementary level, I had mentioned the Max Axiom series. Ciencia Gráfica is capstones. It's not the entire Max Axiom, but I want to say there's at least about 10 of them where they've translated those titles into Spanish. So that is a great science-specific angle. That Girl on TV Could Be Me is a fun story, aspirational, about a girl who aspired to being a news anchor. It's one volume, unfortunately, of Big Nate, not the whole series, but if they're into Big Nate, it's an introduction. And Quince is also, that's a super popular, that's the one I mentioned earlier about the 15-year-old who gets superpowers for 1 year. And there's a bilingual edition available that's both English and Spanish. At the middle school collection, Archie enters. There's, I want to say 20 to 30 issues of Archie in Spanish, fully translated. Max Axiom is still there in that collection. The Spanish edition of They Called Us Enemy is available there. And at the middle school level, there's an Argentinian publisher called UMC Ediciones, who is building their own Latin American superhero universe. And they publish titles in both English and Spanish. So in that collection, you'll find availability of both. And then at the high school level, it's mainly Archie, They Called Us Enemy, and UMC Ediciones. So middle school is where we're the strongest when it comes to Spanish. And we are actively trying to acquire more content in other languages. Spanish is kind of tops on our list. If you're in the platform, you can filter by language and see what's available in other languages. I'll tell you in advance, you'll be disappointed by anything other than Spanish. There are some random titles in a few other languages in there, but we're working on proactively growing our other languages in the catalog, starting with Spanish. And that's, I think that's it for me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing all that. For everybody, that's really important that you understand what is in your collection, especially because we're adding titles all the time. We had a question about whether or not we will be getting more EB titles, which we just learned in the chat that EB means emergent bilingual. So thank you for that, Lisa. And we are constantly working with publishers to get new titles into the collection. So knowing what's in your collection right now is so helpful. Guy, thank you so much for diving into that. Now I want to go through and talk about how you can easily share these titles. With your students and your teachers. For example, if you want to share that American History, American Dreams list with your American History teachers or your social studies teachers, I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay, so within the platform, we have our featured page. That's your landing page that you're always going to land on. It has featured titles and featured lists. So these banners up here are going to give you your featured lists. And when you scroll down, you'll get to your featured curated lists down here. So example, American History. If you wanted to share this title, you just click on the title of the category or the list. And this URL up here is going to be specific to your school. You will have your school's name up here, as long as your school name is up here in the left-hand corner. And this URL right here can be copied and shared with anybody in your school that you want to direct them to this page. They'll click on that link, they'll sign in, and then they'll be, as soon as they get signed in, they'll be directed right back to this list. So you can share this directly with your teachers. They don't have to go through the collection to find all of these titles that Guy just shared with you. You can share it directly with them. Also, to point out real quickly, Guy talked about the language filter, and you can see that right here. Whenever you are in any part of the collection inside of it. So if you're in popular, just added, inside a category, inside a publisher, you will be able to see these filters right here, which you can then narrow down your search even more. So that's really helpful. If you did want to just share the Spanish titles, you could go to languages, hit Spanish. You'll see there'll be a little addition to your URL, and you can then copy that URL and send it. So it'd be all of your Spanish titles in the American History, American Dreams drawer. So that is a really fun and easy way to share direct access to your collection and to really narrow your teachers and educators' focus onto the part of the collection that's relevant to them in their class. If you want to share a specific title, if you know that your teachers or your classrooms are talking about a specific subject or a specific title or experience, and you want to share this title with them, you can either click directly on the cover or you can click more details. And you are going to be put into the summary page for that title. So now you are just looking at this title and then their related titles. This URL right here can be shared to give them direct access to just that title. So rather than focusing them on a category or focusing them on a list, you can now narrow their focus down to a specific title. So this is really awesome. There is a share button down here, and I want to just explain the difference real quick. So this share button is meant for the user or the patron. If they click this and they want to post the title on social media that they're reading, they want to share it with a family member, they can do that. It's going to link them to our demo page. And the reason why is because you don't have to be logged in to read this summary page on the demo site. So if they don't have access, if they don't have a login through their library or through your school to go to it, we don't want them to just hit that login page and then that share be worthless for the patron. So this is for the patron to use. They can push this anywhere, show anybody this title. For you, if you are going to direct your students or your staff or your teachers to an area of your platform, then you want to use the URL. That's going to take them directly to your school. And so Mackin is with us today, obviously, and they're going to talk about Mackin Via and how to use this within Mackin Via. And we are so excited about that. Mackin is a wonderful company to work with. They have a wonderful reputation. They're really dedicated to their school libraries and their school librarians. And that is the reason why we have this exclusive relationship and distribution partnership with them. We're so excited for them to really be able to show you inside Mackin Via and all the different ways that you can use this. Yay, Lisa, we love Mackin too. I'm going to show you some materials and resources inside our resource center that you can use. And then Mesa is going to take that and show you how to put all of that inside your Via portal. So we talked a little bit about the resource center in the chat. Some of you were asking. It's support.librarypass.com. You always have access to it. You do not have to be signed into your portal or into here. You do not have to sign in to get access to the resources. If you need help with anything, you can go to Need Help. That's going to give you FAQs, how-to videos, authentication options. If you're looking for resources and materials, you're going to go right here to resources. We have teaching and reading guides, programming resources, which are like fun bingo games and create your own comic materials. We have marketing materials. This is where you're going to find your Comics Plus buttons and your posters, and the bookmarks we were talking about are going to be under here. We have webinars that talk about some really high interest, super relevant to you topics when it comes to graphic novels. And then we have this new item down here called programming packages that I want to bring your attention to. So once a quarter, what we're doing is we're taking one of those curated lists that Guy was talking about, and we're highlighting them, and we're creating a bunch of materials to wrap around that list to help you promote your content and your access without a whole lot of work on your end. So we're going to give you the list with the titles in it. We're going to give you an explanation of those titles. We're going to give you different resources that you can use to engage your students with them. And we're going to give you different digital materials to market it with. So for example, if we're in middle school, over the summer, we did Animal Adventures was our list. And then our back to school was the mental health or the social and emotional learning list that you've heard about from Yi. As you go into here, you'll see our content director, Moni Barrett, put together a book list or a book talk for you that it highlights about 5 or 6 different titles within the social and emotional learning collection, which is really awesome. So if you're looking for a really quick way to get some information about some of the titles, this is a beautiful video to watch. Then we curated these lists for you. So you have graphic medicine for schools and libraries. And then this is our social and emotional learning list. She then took a cross section of our graphic medicine titles and our social and emotional learning titles and created a little mini list for you here. So you actually get 3 different curated lists in this and an article that goes with each that breaks down why the list is important, why did we focus on this, and then some key titles within those lists. We then have programming resources. So these are teaching suggestions from the titles. These are publisher teaching guides that go with the titles. Then you have the bingo, the book report, reading challenge, book club resources. If you're not already running a book club on your campus, this Comics Plus collection, because it's simultaneous use, is such an awesome thing to leverage for that. It's got manga, graphic novels. The students love that. Running a book club with them with this platform is really amazing. So we have some resources here to really help you engage with that. And when you scroll down, we have our marketing tools. This is probably our most requested item in our programming packages. So these posts are ready. They're the right size and everything for you to just throw up on your social media and then just put a little snippet explanation to the students about how to log in. And it's ready to go for Instagram or wherever you want to post it. This banner is free for you to use. It has the titles that are in the social and emotional learning list, as well as this square icon as well. You can use those wherever you need to, post it on your website. We have some teachers that use these images to make graphics for their TVs around campus to let the students know that they have this collection and to really promote it. We also have some further reading here for you. And we'll be coming out with these programming packages about once a quarter. So these are a bunch of resources that you can pull together to really promote this list and this collection. One sidebar thing I want to point out with the Resource Center is on the bottom of every page, there's a submit a ticket button. So if you need help with anything, if you have a question, if something isn't working, if you're confused, if you want to know if we're going to add something, you can go right here, fill out a really quick form. It'll go right to our support team so that we can address your issue and give you support right away in whatever it is that you need. So now I'm really excited to see Mesa is going to talk with us about how to take all those materials and everything we just talked about and put it inside your Mac and VIA portal to really get your students engaged.
Welcome to today's tutorial titled Sharing Links.
Also, for everybody that is accessing the presentation afterwards, this is a video that shows you how to share your titles within Comics Plus when you are a Mac and VIA user. So know that that will also be there for you.
Awesome. Thanks, Raquel, and thanks for having me. I'm going to share my screen here. So we actually are going to talk about the group, or the list, all the fields. But first, I want to show you, for those of you that are not familiar with Mac and VIA, our partnership with Comics Plus has made it really easy for you to connect to Comics Plus. When you purchase Comics Plus, we actually set you up with the Mac and VIA. And really, just to kind of sum up what Mac and VIA is, we built this platform for all of our customers so that you could put all of your digital content, whether it be Comics Plus, Mac and VIA ebooks, any other databases you have, all in one place. So the great thing about Mac and VIA is once you log in, whatever single sign-on you use, we will connect with it. You log into Mac and VIA, and you can access all of these different resources here. So you'll see down the side here, these are all the different resource types that we support. If you got set up with Comics Plus and now you have access to Mac and VIA, you have a lot of free tools you can use in Mac and VIA. So we don't require any types of purchasing to access all of these tools. So I'm just going to quickly go through it, and then we're going to talk about Comics Plus, the group that we made with Comics Plus, which is really exciting because it's very easy to get to certain things that Raquel was talking about. So this is a demo account that I'm just using, but I wanted to showcase here. This is the first resource type. It's called links, but basically it's websites. And basically what it is easy access to websites that you want to add into your library. So maybe you're doing a unit on animals. You want to get to an animals website. You can add in that website right into Mac and VIA, and you can access that website right here. It's an easy link for the students to get to materials that you're using for instruction. We also allow for embedding YouTube videos. So let's say you have a YouTube video that you're using, and I'm going to show you some of the Comics Plus ones, but in the interim, I want to show you, this is a book trailer for the book Wonder. And so now, instead of having all my students go out to YouTube and have to, get very distracted by all the suggested videos down the side, they actually just watch the video right in Mac and Via. It doesn't go to the next video. It keeps them right here. And once they're done, they can move on to the next thing. We do sell, Mackin does sell ebooks and audiobooks. We have our own platform, and I'm going to show you this in the group that we look at. But I just wanted to mention, so we do sell ebooks and audiobooks. We also sell databases, obviously. And this is where you find your Comics Plus databases. So the nice part about this is when you click on Comics Plus, it's going to automatically authenticate you into the platform without having to log in again. And then you're actually logged in with your same username and password that you logged in with Mac and Via. So that's a nice way to get your students just into Comics Plus really quickly. They could search in Mac and Via for Comics Plus right up here. One of the things I wanted to point out is when you're using Mac and Via, you have all these resources. As a student, sometimes it can get overwhelming. So let's say you wanted to put Comics Plus into your favorites. What we have is a little, let me just scroll down here. So here's the Comics Plus. I just switched from tile view to list view, and I'm going to add it to my favorites because I love Comics Plus and I want to come back to it all the time. So in my backpack account, this is my personalized backpack account. So I'm in control of this. I'm able to put things in my favorites. I'm able to see notes I've taken in different ebooks. I'm able to check out ebooks here. So this is a great way to say, hey, I want to save Comics Plus right in my favorites and come back to it all the time. And so databases, I just want to point out quickly too, if you have other databases that you're using in your school, you can put them all in Mac and Via. We don't charge for this. You can migrate them all in here so that you can actually have one access point for all your digital content. There's lots of searching in Mac and Via. We're not going to go into it today because of time. But what I'm going to actually do is show you Groups. So Groups is a tool that we created. Again, this is a free service. So when you have Comics Plus, as you all do, you can do anything with Groups. And this is what I'm going to show you. So Raquel and I created this group, and what it is all of the resources that we pulled out from all the fields list that Comics Plus created. And in this group, Raquel actually added all of these, all this information for the student. So here's a little, she wrote this up. This is all customized. You guys can do this on your own, however you want to do it. We just kind of added some things in here. So here's the book Activist, and with a little synopsis of it. We put in one of the reading challenges, and I'm just going to show you how this looks, which is pretty awesome. So here's the reading challenge. And as a student, if I hit open now, it's going to bring me directly to this reading challenge. So that was easy. I don't have to search for it. Here is the book Activist. So instead of having to go maybe and search for it, you as a Mac and Via user can put this link directly in Mac and Via into a group and say, these 2 books you need to read, or these 3 books you need to read, and then you need to do the reading challenge. It's all right here in this group. Another thing is that we actually embedded this YouTube video on Activist interview right in Mac and Via. So again, you can access all this stuff right in Mac and Via, not leave the platform. And a lot of the things that Raquel was talking about, some of it is not student facing, right? So if you want to get it a little bit easier into the students' hands, this is a great way to do it, is embedded in Mac and Via. use the tools in Mac and VIA to pull out the resources that you really want to use. We also have a link to all the fields list right here too. So if you just want to give them the link right through Mac and VIA, you can do that. I also added a couple of two other resources in here, and I just want to show you them quickly. This is a Mac and VIA ebook. And when you open the ebook, and again, you do have to pay for this ebook, but it's very easy to purchase a la carte at Mackin. So if you just find a couple ebooks you want, you can totally purchase them. There's no minimum purchase on our ebooks. So I don't know how much this one costs, but it's pretty easy. There's lots of tools as well within the ebooks. So if you look down here, you can take notes, you can highlight, you can do a lot of different things within these ebooks. And then we also have streaming audio as well. And this is going to start playing when it opens up.
Chapter 1, The War of Art. This is how I feel every single day of my life, like I'm falling without a parachute.
Okay, so you get the idea. The audiobooks are strictly audio. In the ebooks, we do sometimes have text to speech, not always with the graphic novels, but a lot of times we do have text to speech within the ebooks as well. So I just want to point out the more resources that you can add. So you can pull from Comics Plus, you can pull from websites that you might feel will add to the lesson or the unit that you're teaching on, and add the links into Mac and VIA. So I think you're probably all thinking, how do I do this? You know, I've been in Mac and VIA, I know how to use the patron interface, the user interface, but did you know that there is a whole administrative side of Mac and VIA? If you don't know how to get in, let us know. Basically, if you have a Mackin.com account, that's where you're going to go. You're going to go to Mackin.com, and then there's an administrative side called Mac and VIA right here under my account, and that will bring you over to the administrative side. So there's lots of different things on the administrative side you can do, but in order to not run out of time here, I'm going to go through 3 different things. So I'm going to show you how to add resources. So how we talked about adding all the links to the Comic Plus lists, ebooks, whatever you're wanting to add. If you want to embed the YouTube video from the Resource Center in Comics Plus, that's really easy to do. And then I'm going to show you how to create a group. And then I'm going to show you one other thing that we're going to jump back to the patron side, and I'm going to show you how to showcase some of these things on the home screen of Mac and VIA. Okay, so under resources, I'm in the dashboard right now. This is all like data on Mac and VIA and things, what's being used, pages being read. But under resources, there is an add new resource button. And then you want to go to add manually. And then what will come up is a couple options, and you can decide what type of resource you're adding. You will make sure you have the URL right here. You'll need a title and an author. So I'm going to show you the video that I added, the activist video. Okay, so I just went to resources and then videos because I've already added the activist video, but I want to show you what this looks like. So I chose resource type video. I added in the URL. I did add that I wanted it embedded in Mac and VIA. So you can choose if you want to go out to YouTube or go out to wherever it's hosted, or you can embed it in Mac and VIA. I would have to create just a title, and then there is an author. And then those are the only things you really need. Once you hit save changes in here, you're going to get all these other options. If you want to continue adding more tags, more index terms to this resource so that students can type in things and find it, it's kind of like a mini catalog. So it's kind of like mini cataloging, where you're coming in here and you're just adding in information so it's easily found. The resource image for video will automatically show up, but you can also choose a resource image if you want. So it's very easy. And then once you're ready to be done, you just hit active. If you want it inactive, you just hit the active button and it will say inactive. if you want it just to leave it for now and not let anyone discover it. And then just always make sure you save your changes. So that is super easy to add a resource. You can add, like Raquel was talking about, grab those links from Comics Plus to the list or to individual books, and you can add them in here super easy. Again, you just want to resource and then add new resource. So now once you've added all your resources that you want to create a group on, you would just go under Classroom and Groups. And then there's a Create a New Group button here, which is super easy. Once you hit that, you're gonna get a screen that looks like this. You just name the group. You can put tags within the group. And then here's the instructions that we added into the group about the resources in the group. And then if you want to add a group image, you can totally do that too. And this is the image that we added. Now, once you've created the group, you want to go back and see, here's all the fields group. And I want to manage my resources. So this is where you're going to go find things to add into the group. So once you create a group, just make sure you add things in before you want it to appear on your patron side. So if you just create a shell for the group and you don't put anything in it, it won't show up. So just keep that in mind when you're creating groups, because we don't want to show an empty group. So when I come in here, I can see I'm in all the fields. I want to view just my active ones. So the things that I've already added. So now you can see these are all the active ones. And now maybe I want to add more. So I'm just going to put like emotional. Let's just do, I don't know, social. I'm just totally searching random things here in this demo account. So bear with me, but you can see these books came up because they're already in my Mac and Via. Now remember, everything in my Mac and Via are things that I've either purchased or added. So your Mac and Via might look a little empty if you haven't purchased or added anything in there yet. It's all customized on your end. And then once I'm ready to add something, I just hit add and it adds right into that group that I'm in. And then I can go back, and as long as I refresh here, I just want to show you what it looks like. There's that book that I added right there. So it's super easy to create groups. You can make the groups inactive if you want. So when you go into edit and you're just working on a group and you want to not make it active for the students, just click this active button and it will make it inactive. So I want to show you one other way to share. So we're talking about sharing a lot. If you're sharing through Google Classroom and you create a group, there is a little button right here, and I can share it right to my class and create an assignment, assign, and then I just want to show you what it looks like. When I go into, you can see it's right here, instructions, click on it, and then it brings me directly to that group in Mac and Via. So that's another way to share the groups that you're using, which is pretty awesome and easy for you guys. If you don't see this button, there is a way to turn it on. Settings, integration, and then Google Classroom, just make sure it says enabled right here. So again, settings, integrations, and then make sure it says enabled. Okay, and then the last thing, I know I'm running out of time here. The last thing I want to show you, there's so much to show you. So let's say we want to showcase all the fields group on the home screen. So you can see here, this home screen, sorry for that. This home screen has groups that I've created. I'm showcasing top resources, lots of different things. This is all customized on your admin side. So what I'm going to do is go back to admin, and I'm going to go to settings, homepage. And this looks exactly similar to what my homepage looks like with all the topic areas. And then I'm going to say I want to add a group carousel. And there it is, all the fields. It's the first one. I'm going to hit add. If I scroll down here, there it is, but I want to move it more to the middle so I can pick it up and I want to move it to the top. All the fields. Now it's on the top page, and you don't have to save on this page. It will just automatically save. And then it should, I don't think you need to log out and log back in here. Oh, maybe you do. I think on this one, you have to log out and log back in. But it should be a carousel listed right on top after you add it in your home screen. So those are just some of a few little tips of Mac and VIA, but we are so happy to help with other things with Mac and VIA, with Comics Plus. We are so excited about our relationship with Comics Plus. It's been amazing to have this partnership with them, and they're just excellent. I think we have very similar views on helping our customers and really being there to support everyone. So with that, I'll see if there's any questions. I'm sure there's a few.
I do think that there's a question about what all Mackin provides and who they should contact at Mackin if they have questions about the setting up the groups.
Yeah, just go to eServices. I'm going to type it in here at mackin.com. You can contact someone there, and then we will help you with whatever you need. Otherwise, Mackin at mackin.com will also help too. On mackin.com, just that's our normal website, you can find help on there as well. So the contact information is right up top.
Yeah, and Mac and VIA, somebody asked if Mac and VIA can integrate with Destiny, and it can, correct, Mesa?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you're using Destiny, you can authenticate through Destiny to Mac and VIA. We also give Mark records if you purchase ebooks that you can upload into Destiny, and they work just fine. And then you can actually access those records into Mac and VIA very easily. But yes, just contact us at either eServices@mackin.com, and then we can get you set up with Destiny easily if that's the best way for you at your school.
Yeah, awesome. I just want to point out too how amazing Groups is. I'm a former teacher. I taught reading in 11th grade for several years. And when Mesa showed me this, I was like, oh my gosh, holy cow, I can put links to everything, YouTube videos in here from all over the place. I can pull this all into one spot so that my students can very easily go through this. And I can say, read this, do this, answer this, let me know when you're done. And I just really thought that was so great. So linking individual titles into your groups, linking lists into your groups are some really wonderful things that you can do with that. Also in this presentation that we will make sure everybody has access to, we've also embedded just a couple videos about the Mac and VIA platform to help you just a little bit more. There's an overview that will show you kind of a broad overview of the whole Mac and VIA admin portal and Mac and VIA itself. If you want more information about groups, that video is linked as well. And then if you need some information about backpacks is some of the ways that Mac and VIA sets up the individual accounts for students. And so if you need some help or assistance with that, there is a video here. But again, the email addresses that Mesa provided in the chat, you also can contact them to get help with setting up for your backpacks. If for any reason you are interested in a different authentication type, we have alternative authentications. You can go right to our resource center, click on need help, and you can access those right here under school authentication options. Mac and VIA is a wonderful way to authenticate your kids and your students. As Mesa mentioned, it will link directly to your portal. It will link directly to Follett Destiny or Clever. Your students don't have to have a second login for Comics Plus, so it's really a wonderful place to house all of the materials. And then with all of that, do we have any questions that we can answer? I think we have 4 minutes.
I think I just want to answer this instead of typing it. So Jennifer asked, can you purchase Comics Plus through Mackin? And I think it depends, right, Raquel? We are exclusive provider for K-12.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you can, and I'm not sure about.
If you are a K-12 school, which I'm assuming that you are, Mackin is actually the only place that you can purchase access to Comics Plus.
Okay. And I think I'm actually, I haven't been sending this to everyone, so I apologize. My email is just mesa@mackin.com if anyone needs to contact me. And then the e-services is the other email. So I was putting it on the panelist list.
Any other questions? All right, well, we do have this presentation. All the links are live. Every category that Guy spoke about within your grade level, elementary, middle, and high school, it is linked in there to our demo site. So you can click on that and look to see where it is. You can also go to that in your own platform. For more tips and support, please visit our resource center at support.librarypass.com.